Have you ever wondered what it would be like to find love in the most unexpected place? The sun was sinking slowly behind the golden hills of the west, painting the sky in shades of crimson and amber. Dust hovered in the air, stirred by the gentle evening wind. Carrying the smell of sagebrush and the faint echo of a hawk's cry. On that vast prairie, a lone cowboy rode his horse along a rugged trail, his hat pulled low, his silhouette stretched long against the dying light. His name was Jack Dawson, a quiet man who had spent more years with cattle and horses than with people. His life was simple sunrise to sunset, work to exhaustion, a fire at night, and silence as his closest companion. That evening, as he passed a cluster of dry mesquite, he heard something faint, almost hidden in the wind. It was a cry not human, but a sound heavy with pain. He stopped, dismounted, and followed the sound through the brush. There, half hidden beneath a tangle of fallen branches, lay a Mustang. Its once powerful body was now trembling, one leg twisted awkwardly beneath it, blood staining its dark mane. The wild fire in its eyes flickered, caught between fear and surrender. Jack knelt beside the animal, his voice low and calm. "Easy now, boy. I'm not here to hurt you." The Mustang snorted weakly, ears pinned back, but there was no strength left to fight. Jack saw the deep gash on its leg, swollen and raw. Without help, the creature would not survive the night. It took all of Jack's patience and skill, but he managed to free the horse from the branches, soothing it with soft words as he worked. He wrapped the wound with strips of cloth torn from his own shirt, then guided the Mustang gently toward his cabin. Step by step, the wounded animal leaned against him, trusting in the only hope it had. For weeks, Jack cared for the horse, as though it were kin. He cleaned the wound daily, fed it oats and fresh water, and stayed awake long nights whenever the Mustang trembled in pain. Slowly, the fire returned to the animal's eyes. Its coat grew sleek again, its muscles tightened with strength. And the wild spirit that had nearly been extinguished burned brighter than ever. One morning, as Jack brushed the horse's mane under the soft glow of dawn, he noticed something strange. Round its neck hung a broken leather strap, worn and old but still bearing the faint mark of a family crest. This was no nameless wild Mustang. It belonged to someone. Jack's heart sank a little. He had grown attached to the animal more than he had intended, but he knew what was right. A horse like this had a story and a home somewhere waiting. A few days later, fate answered. While leading the Mustang along a dusty road, Jack came across a wagon, halted by a stream. Beside it stood a young woman, her long auburn hair catching the sunlight, her eyes wide the moment they fell on the horse. "Storm," she cried, her voice breaking with relief. The Mustang lifted its head, ears pricking forward, and let out a sharp whinny. The recognition was instant. The horse trotted forward, pressing its muzzle into her hands, as if finding a piece of its soul again. Jack stood back, silent, watching the reunion. The young woman turned to him, tears shining in her eyes. "You found him. You saved him." Her name was Emily Carter, the daughter of a wealthy farm owner whose land stretched across the valley. Storm had been her companion since she was a girl, but weeks ago the horse had bolted during a thunderstorm and never returned. They had searched everywhere, fearing the worst. Until now. Jack tipped his hat, his voice steady, though something heavy pressed on his chest. "He was hurt bad when I found him. Strongest Mustang I've ever seen, but he wouldn't have made it alone." Emily's gaze lingered on him, filled with gratitude. "I don't know how to thank you." Jack shook his head. "No need. He's yours. Always was." Yet in the days that followed, Emily insisted he come to the farm, if only to see how Storm was healing under her care. Jack hesitated. At first he was a drifter, never one to linger where roots ran deep. But something in her smile, and the way she spoke to both him and the horse, drew him back. He found himself visiting more often, helping with chores around the farm, teaching Emily small tricks he'd learned about caring for horses. Storm would nuzzle against both of them, almost as if guiding their hands together, a silent witness to something neither dared to name. Evenings became their time. After long days, Jack and Emily would walk side by side, leading Storm through the fields as the sun dipped low. They would talk about dreams, about loss, about the quiet aches carried in their hearts. For Jack, it was the first time in years he spoke freely. For Emily, it was the first time someone listened without judgment. One evening, as the sky flared with streaks of purple and gold, Emily stopped at the fence line. Storm grazed peacefully nearby, the breeze playing through his mane. She turned to Jack, her eyes soft. "I thought I lost him forever," she whispered. "But because of you, he came back. Sometimes I think, maybe you were meant to find him." Jack looked at her, the setting sun casting a halo around her hair. For a man who had lived his life chasing horizons, the thought of stopping of belonging had always felt impossible. But here with her, with Storm, the endless road suddenly seemed less important. He smiled faintly, his voice low. "Maybe he was the one who found me?" Silence fell between them, not awkward but tender, filled with everything they didn't need to say aloud. As the last light of day melted into twilight, Emily slipped her hand into his. Together they walked the horse back toward the barn, their shadows stretching long across the earth. And when the stars appeared above, scattered like diamonds across the velvet night, a cowboy who once wandered without purpose found something he never expected: a home, a heart to share it with, and the promise of love born under the watchful eyes of a Mustang that had carried them both to each other.